actual belts hanging up there after that point in time.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
I think that is the case, and I believe that after that ladders match with Vivachan able to pull that out and get the victory, we had a tables match with the for the U.S. Championship, I believe,
Yes.
with Alex coming out on top in that match.
I mean, yeah. Alex did come on top. Like it was a really good match, back and forth. But then Rube Cage made just one fatal mistake. Alex got his hands on
Made
him.
one fatal mistake. He called himself Ribcage. Got the fans to just love him for some reason, but nobody backstage respects the Ribcage name, I hear. But the fans love him for some reason, and Alex was able to get the victory and become the first ever RSW US champion, and he did it with a front slam through the table. Nice, nice way to come out and show that you're up next and you are the champion. I think Alex showed out in this match. I think that this was one of the only matches that I think the person who deserved the win got the win. But Ribcage, quite frankly, could be looking to get that title off of Alex pretty soon.
Possibly he has to just deserve that win, and we definitely need to see what we can do to see what the commissioner thinks, and because I do believe we do know some of the fights coming out next week. But anyways, to the third one, the Triple Threat Intercontinental Championship ladder match between Aiden Fury, Bill Burt, and Boston Brown.
You want my honest opinion here?
Yeah.
Wrong person won this match.
I mean, true.
He got lucky.
Boston Brown did get beat up and down the ring the entire time. And then he got a good hit on Aiden
right
Fury.
Now is a joke because of who holds it. I do not think that Boston Brown won it. He didn't win it convincingly. The only reason I think he won it is because I think Aiden Van and Bill Burt just went at each other too hard, and they managed to basically take each other out of the running for the title. And he got up the ladder faster than both of them because they're both hurt, and he managed to hook the title and win it. But 100%, I think Aiden or Bill should have won this match. That would have been a better match, better rivalry. But I think Bill was going to show that after he beat him this past week, I think Bill's going to come out, get a title match, and he's going to finally put the IC title in a place where it actually belongs and put some respect on the title.
100%. This title definitely needs to have respect on its name, and the person to do that will be Bill Burt. But who's to say that it can't be Boston Brown later in the future?
Boston Brown's not a bad superstar right now. He's a great wrestler for how young he is, but he's still green as the fucking grass outside.
I mean, that is true.
I can tell you right now, they're some of the greatest wrestlers of all time. Have at one point been the greenest person in a ring, and you cannot tell the difference between them and any other chopper.
Yeah, that's true.
But if you look at them after they've had a few years on the business, you have the difference between Mean Mark Calloway and The Undertaker.
I mean, yeah, that's true. The Undertaker, though, wouldn't say he's a good comparison with Bill Burt. I feel like he's going in a different direction.
I feel like Mean Mark Calloway is a great comparison to Bill Burt right now. And Mean Mark Calloway was Undertaker before Undertaker was Undertaker.
Yeah. So now we're going to talk about the championship match. Brady Bennett versus Austin Riley.
Short match, very short match. I was expecting bigger fight from the opponent in this one, but Austin Riley just took the reins on this match and did not let up and was able to get the quick pin and call it a match.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
mean, yeah, he did exactly what he needed to do. He showed that he is probably a top contender in this league and in this division, and should be in the running for the title. He holds it now. He may not be the best superstar on the roster, but he definitely is showing that he is, quite frankly, one of the best in the business. And if you don't respect him for that, then you just aren't right. Like, you don't know what. If you don't respect a man for showing out and doing what he did in that match, he beat the man in like 5 minutes, I think. If if not that, that was one of the shortest matches I've ever seen for a title that didn't have a complete nobody fighting for the title, and it was the top title. He showed out. It may be just a fluke, but he showed off in his one match, and I think that you need to put a little bit of respect on his name going forward.
Maybe, but he has a lot more to prove.
He
Like,
definitely has a lot more to prove. It could have been a fluke, but I think that Austin Riley's going to needs a lot of respect on his name right now.
Okay.
He beat one of the top people in this league in under 5 minutes. That could have just been a fluke. It could have been a little side deal or something going on, or something. But he beat one of the top guys in the business in like 5 minutes flat. That is impressive, and he has to be respected for that.
100%. Okay, so you've talked about the match after this, but let's talk about the main event. Danny Grimes versus the Gentleman. What are your thoughts on that match? The match was going one way and then would go the other, and then would come back to the Gentleman for the win. So what were your thoughts as you were watching this match between these two? Where that both of their earlier matches were canceled, and they were put onto the fight card as the main event.
Quite frankly, I was shocked at how big. Like, if you look at Danny Grimes, he's giant, he's terrifying. You'd be fully expecting him to just come out and put out a huge fight against the Gentleman, who is fighting in a suit, for God's sakes. But the Gentleman was able to outmaneuver, outstrike for a good bit. Danny Grimes just didn't look at 100% like he did in a lot of his indie tapings that we've seen of him. But
And the match was ended by a sweet chin music, which was very surprising because it took 2 curb stomps and a sweet chin music to put Danny Grimes down for the pin.
yeah, but it was just shocking to me that he went down that easy. I've seen Grimes take 10 different finishers and get out of it before. But yeah, it only took 3, I think, tonight.
Yeah, what is your thoughts on it, Ty?
Look, that match, it was back and forth. It definitely lived up to a main event type of hype. It was a good match, very fun, very energetic. Everybody watching, was very into it the entire time. Now, the turnout on it, as far as how it ended, I wasn't too happy about. I really do not like the Gentleman. But give respect where it's due. That man, he put on a show, and he was able to outmuster him and make him look as if he wasn't ready to be there, and basically put him on blast for being on social media the whole time. So kudos to the Gentleman. But I don't think that Danny Grimes is done. at all. Like he's still out for blood. He put out on social media today that there's still blood in the water, and he's coming for him.
But I mean, you also look at but also Danny Grimes did play a little dirty after the match and assaulted the gentleman after shaking his hand for no reason, just because he lost. And as the gentleman was leaving, the Danny Grimes came back and hit the gentleman with the right hook, and the gentleman knocked Danny Grimes out for a second time.
Yeah, and
to add insult to injury, it was the sweet chin music too. He hit him a few times with a curb stomp, and then hit him with sweet chin music again, and that was it for Danny Grimes for a second
I
time.
think he actually knocked him out with a curb stomp, though, I believe. I thought he knocked him out with that curb stomp after he hit a sweet chin music, but I may be corrected. I might be wrong in remembering, but you're completely right, and it was a shock that even was the case of how that match followed out. That brawl was extremely surprising that was the case, and how they ended up doing everything. Like, after that, and then he went back after he got up and was actually recovered. He went outside, and he got jumped by apparently 3 masked men, according to Grimes.
He was jumped by 3 masked men the next night coming into a match because they were bickering on social media and said, next week I want you one-on-one in a anything goes match, and then he got jumped coming into the arena the next week.
Oh yeah, it was the next week. But yeah, he 100%. He anything goes would have been an amazing match to have with those two. But when it was anything goes and it was Gabriel Moore, having him come out there and shocking him after he got replaced, he was healthy enough to be at the arena. Yeah. He probably just didn't make it in time, and that's why Gabriel Moore was in there. It was just shock factor interference, and I think that's the main reason the gentleman lost.
Yeah, like if you looked at the gentleman's face, he seemed pale, like he saw a ghost when Danny Grimes came in, like he thought he had put Danny Grimes out of commission for good, like would never be able to come back to wrestling. But I guess he was wrong. What are your thoughts on Danny Grimes' just random appearance, Ty? Because obviously I definitely believe that he's one of your favorite guys to watch.
Oh, for sure. I mean, he's a big man. I've watched other wrestling events. Some of my favorites are always going to be the big guys, right? So we're talking about the Big Show, the Great Khali, just the bigger, taller, even heavier guys. I've always fallen for.
I love the Great Khali. He's opening a wrestling school. The Great Khali, the guy who doesn't know any moves besides an overhead chop, is opening a wrestling school.
Absolutely. So with that being in mind, I do want to say this now. Danny Grimes, number one, should not have. Okay, my bad. He shouldn't have jumped in that match and made that appearance the first time. Then the second time, he does it again. So he's not afraid to try some sneak shit, So for anyone saying, "Oh, he's on the good side of this match," I think both of these guys are people. A, you don't want to mess with. B, they're not super well liked by the community. I think maybe